All right. I think we are live. Let me just make sure that I got to see it, folks. You know how that goes. Um all right, YouTube, I think we're up. One of these days I'm going to have an on-site producer. That day has not come yet, but it's going to come, and I'm not going to have to do they'll just be in charge of that. You know what I mean? But until then it's all me, and I got to see it, or else we don't know if we're really alive. But we are alive. The internet just told me. What's up, everybody? Good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to a Monday edition of Get Your News On with Ron. For everybody listening to the podcast later, you can't see this, but I'm really mixing it up. I got my glasses on. It's a different day. We didn't do our usual Sunday, and the reason we didn't do the usual Sunday is because I was out on the road, which a quick shout out to everyone who came out to Tucson, Arizona. Had a really fun show in Tucson, and I got to screen Loner for its first time, the short film / pilot that I made, Loner. Shout out to everyone who watched the film and came to the show. I had a freaking blast. It was awesome to see Loner on the big screen, and I should have some more news on what's next for that project. And it's interesting that that happened over the weekend, because we actually got some film stuff going on today on this show. But first, I'll tell you what you can expect from today's show. We're going to be talking about the Ticketmaster hearing in great detail. I'm going to be kind of going through what happened with the Ticketmaster hearing. Will they potentially be broken up? We're going to talk about it. And also, there's a kind of fun Music Monday story I got, since we're streaming on a Monday. But first, I got two guests with me. Both of them have been on the show before. Both of them are friends of the show. You know that Kevin Ronka and his Right Brain project, Right Brain TV, we had him on when he first launched it. I am a member. They do amazing stuff. They have so much cool content, everything from documentaries about Mexican punk bands to anti-imperialism documentaries to underground cartoons that are supposed to be nostalgic of the 80s and 90s. Such a cool freaking streaming site of all kinds of film and content that you really can't see anywhere else. It's like an indie punk rock anti-war Netflix, and it's freaking badass. And they have just reached a new milestone because they got a new documentary coming out about another friend of the show, who you guys know. He's been on the show too. So let me go ahead and bring them both in. Welcome, Kevin Ronka of Right Brain TV, and Rome, the member of RBN, and he's a mutual aid activist, and he is only 2 inches shorter than I am. So, guys, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Rome, you got to unmute yourself.
What's going on, man?
What's up, buddy? Good to see you both. Thanks so much for being here. I'm so excited for the movie. And Kevin, I know we've been following Right Brain since the beginning. Congratulations on this milestone. It's awesome to see the phases increase here. So to start out, obviously I'm familiar with both you guys, but just for anyone who might not be, why this project, Kevin? Like why is this a story that needs to be told? And then Rome, what made you decide that Kevin should get to tell your story?
So we always had a kind of a 5-year plan with Right Brain. You kind of have to, and we obviously don't follow it 100%, but you kind of got to know where you're headed. And we always intended to do like a TV movie, which was like really popular back in the day in HBO when they used to be more gritty. It's like between a feature and a short film. And to be honest, we had like a short list of people. You have to have some backup plans, and our top was Rome. And you were actually on there, Ron. Jimmy was somewhere on there. Like, there's just a big list, and Rome was the top. And it's like, if we can't get him, we'll try. And I think I just sent him a message, and he was really cool. And we got on a call, and I'd seen the activism he was doing, and I really wanted to do a project on. I wanted to cross barriers because I think everyone kind of has a role in the anti-war movement. The film people, the YouTube people, the activists, and I saw Rome was checking a lot of the different boxes. And I thought, what would happen if we kind of took our separate roles and kind of teamed up on it. And so that's kind of how the ball got rolling on that.
Yeah, I say, it wasn't really about Kevin telling my story for me. It really happened out of luck because I don't usually check emails or DMs or anything like that, especially after I lost my. I haven't lost my assistant; she got a better job. But Yeah, it was really luck, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna trust these guys. You know, if they saying that they can come out to Detroit, I told them where I'm from, where I really do. You know, I do travel a lot around the U.S., but when I'm home is that's where I do the most, and we still stay in a very dangerous area. And I'm like, okay, if you guys can come out here with your equipment, you feel safe, then you know we can go 50-50 on this. So that was really what this that's really how it started and whatnot. When they came out there, you know, we ain't had no problems, no fights. Everybody got along. We walked through the red zone. We did some work in Mac Avenue. We was all around Detroit. It was a busy weekend. It was a busy weekend. It was nice though.
And
Yeah, I
bro,
didn't say one thing. I don't know if I'm allowed to curse in here, but
you can say whatever you want, buddy.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
say
can curse.
fuck Pete Buttigieg because you know what? Day one, having never got to actually beat Rome, getting ready to drive up, everything's planned ahead of time, and we're really we are underground, and you just mentioned the website having a punk aesthetic, but Rome will tell you like we're really on top of it because
Yeah.
time is money and equipment's money, and we don't have much, so we got to be really diligent. But I booked my camera guy a flight to Detroit, and then we were going to drive all the equipment up, and his flight got canceled by the transportation for no reason, and so
Oh yeah.
the first day was like almost a wash. So right out of the gate, I was like, fuck. And then when I got there, Rome's like, all right, they're already late day one. I mean, real late. And so it was off to a rocky start, but I was amazed how much we shot in, it was like 3 days and we just went. It was like 8 to 10 hours a day. He took us everywhere. And I'll be honest, if I knew it was as dangerous, I probably still would have done it, but I know that my crew probably wouldn't have. So thank God everything worked out because Mark, the co-producer, and the other guy, Right Brady, was there. He told me later, he's like, "Yeah, I read an article about the red zone." He's like, "We probably shouldn't have been there, but worked out." So, we've done projects. We were in China shooting COVID the week it broke out, right after they kicked the American Journal. It's like we did, shot on the Methadone Mile. So we definitely shot in some dangerous places. But I would say this is definitely the most intense. And the first time a camera guy ever said, "I don't know if I want to. Can we stop?" It was the only time that ever happened.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, I mean, I've seen some of your other movies, so I'm excited to. I mean, I'm excited to see this anyway. But yeah, like I'm really interested in that because you've also, I mean, you have followed, I mean, you have followed homeless people around and documented, what they go through, and so you, Kevin, I mean, you've definitely put yourself in danger plenty of times to tell the stories of the voiceless, really.
I mean, that's what was crazy for me. And then, I'd like to hear what Rome thinks, but for me, it was like, this is, somebody's everyday life. And so you think about, oh man, it's so dangerous for 3 days. I mean, this is, people live there every day. They got to deal with it. Kids got to risk getting shot going to school and the police. And I mean, it was eye opening to say the least. I anticipated it, but I'll admit it was felt more dangerous than I thought, but not, I'd say less dangerous, more like, wow, they've really neglected this place. I'd say sadness more than fear for sure.
And that was what it was all about. I was like, all right, if y'all want to shoot something, we're not gonna be here or in your hood or what I'm saying in the suburbs. We're gonna be straight where I'm from. I'm not on tour for the poor is done for this month. So y'all want to come out here and we can shoot some shit. Let's shoot some shit. But we speaking on documentary and my life, then we gotta get my life in this movie and whatnot. And that was the whole point. And that's why I trusted them to come out. Because when they came out, I was like, all right, we can actually do something. Because a lot of people, even people in my city, they won't come out and help people. They are 20 minutes away from me. They're still too scared to come to the red zone, go to the east side, the west side. Just because of what might happen and whatnot. Even if we do have protection or whatnot, a lot of people just, it's just not about their life. Yeah.
So let's talk about your activism for a little bit here. So for anyone not in the know, and I'm sure a lot of people that listen to this already are, but you do Tour for the Poor, where you go around and you just do mutual aid, giving people food who need it, giving people drink who need it. And then you're also building a library, which I'm super stoked for. I can't wait to see it. I'm going to be in Detroit in June, by the way.
Oh yeah.
And, yeah. And also, I got to ask you about this, man. You give haircuts.
Oh, yeah.
Man, where are you self-taught or like what's the story there? How do you know how to do that?
I've been cutting hair since I was about 12 because I didn't have a father. We didn't have money and single mother and whatnot. So my hair was just growing just wow. I was like, man, I got to cut this shit. My cousin had clippers under the sink, and I was like, snap. I just patched my hair up, and I started going from there. And I got good when I was about like 13, half 14. I started cutting everybody else's hair. But yeah, I was doing that for the longest. I used to walk around through my neighborhood, knock on doors, see little kids with, nappy hair, uncapped hair, whatever. I'd be like, give me $5, $10. I'll line them up, I'll cut them up, But that's how that basically got started. Excuse me. But yeah, I've been cutting hair for a very long time. That was one of the first things that I learned how to do, and right after that, I believe I got into prostitution, or it was housing, fixing up houses, but one of the two.
All right. So let's talk about the title. Now, Kevin, you've mentioned this, I think, on social media and then also to me privately, but I wanted to talk about it. So this documentary is called Death to America, which you told me that some people had issues with the title, which, by the way, I learned something about myself through that. I learned I could probably never have a career in the United States in marketing, because I had the opposite response to most people. I was like, oh, Death to America. Nice. Tell me more. But you're saying other people, not so much. Now, I'll say this for myself and then turn it over to you guys. When I hear Death to America, I think that is a very, there is a lot of layers and depth to that statement, because America, we all say America. It's something that you can't never not say when you live here because it's around so much. But it is complete and utter bullshit. And it's so ignorant that we even say that, because guess what? We're not America. America is, there's North America, there's South America, there's a bunch of countries. We're the United States, yet we'll occasionally be like, America. That would be like if one country in the EU all of a sudden was, hey, we're Europe. No, you're Spain, you're Germany. Nope, we're Europe, we're it. So when I hear Death to America, what that says to me is death to the empire, death to the chauvinism, death to the nationalism. And hey, that's how I am as an individual. I always say, I love the neighborhoods, I hate the country. I love the people, I love the places, I love all that. What I hate is the empire. What I hate is the economy of war. And so, yeah, when I hear Death to America, that has a positive connotation to me.
I believe you would do well in marketing, because that's basically what it means. A lot of people don't agree with it. Even people that's on my side or to the right of or the left of me, whatever. They call themselves friends. They don't agree with the title because they saying it's edgy, it's this, it's that, but it's an eye grabber. And it's going to get you to actually listen. Okay, Death to America. What do you mean? What do you mean? You want death to you know what I'm saying, to the islands? And no. No, I want death to everything that built this shit. You know what I'm saying? So yes, death to the U.S. imperialist system, of course. But it's gonna have to come. Like, all this shit got to go. All this shit got to go in order for everybody to have a better life. So if you know what I'm saying, Death to America, like even in the movie, with certain clips we're gonna show you guys, it's one of the reasons why I'm saying it. I came up from here and now I'm there, and I'm seeing my life and my opportunities disappear. So what else would I want? I want to bring life to something that's bringing me down. I wouldn't want to bring life to something that's taking away opportunities from me and my communities and whatnot. So yes, Death to America. And if you don't understand, it's best to just watch the movie.
Yeah, that's right. If you don't get it, buy a frickin' ticket.
Yeah.
You're the marketing guy.
What he said too, like, when you make a documentary, it's different than a narrative film. Like, you really don't make it till you get to the edit. So like the way I shoot docs, I don't plan ahead. It's like whatever happens that weekend is what the movie is. So I went out saying it was going to be called Tour for the Poor. That was the original title. Just to call it something. We went out there and we didn't catch Tour for the Poor. And we're in the editing room, and Rome keeps saying Death to America when we keep playing back clips, and it just started to kind of come together. And when you make a film and you go through the whole process, it's like kind of like shedding your skin. You kind of like learn something new each time. And the film kind of started to come together when we were putting the pieces together, and we realized that what we captured was Death to America. It wasn't Tour for the Poor. And I mean, I ran the title by Rome ahead of time. It wasn't just off the cuff. I mean, everything I checked in with him, but to me, the name meant a lot. And that it's a deceptive title, because is it Death to America? Is it Rome saying America's already dead and he's sort of celebrating that it's a crumbling empire? I think it means both. I think it means, Death to America. Definitely. Sorry, I don't know why that's doing that.
Is that the distributor?
Sorry, it's hooked to my computer.
Is that the distributor? Tell them you'll
Yeah,
work on a deal after our interview. Be like, I'm doing this interview.
And I think a lot of people get their pennies. I think that a lot of people just get their pennies mentioned in a bunch because they want something to be mad about. They need something to be mad about. They don't want me to, like, a lot of people don't want me to focus on race. They don't want me to focus on this. They don't want me to focus on that. And they always, like, these are the depths of the shit. You know what I'm saying? They always want me to, we shouldn't speak on that. We shouldn't speak on this. We shouldn't be too harsh. And I understand there's a job in the place for everybody in the revolution. We're looking for liberation, teaching, whatever it might be. But my place is my place, and my voice is my voice. However I feel, I'm gonna tell you. Like, at that second, I don't think twice. Life is too short for me to, I got a saying that I rather regret what I said than regret not saying it at all. So, yeah,
I like
Death
that.
to America. Because when an empire falls, the people gonna want to know who's on your side. Who's on your side? I've been here from the get-go.
Yeah, and I think as a filmmaker, it's important. We did our first documentary with Viggo Mortensen, like 2016, which is probably the last like political film we did. We were letting Viggo Mortensen narrate because he was a big star, but he was narrating about, like, black issues and things like that. And this was a chance to kind of rectify that, because that's probably my biggest issue with some of my older work, is to let Rome tell his story, and we'll act accordingly. I mean, this is Rome's film, and this is his perspective. And for me, when I do a doc, I like to learn. Like, part of the experience of making docs, because they don't pay shit, is the learning experience. And I came out of it thinking, okay, I can see why he says that. I get it. And I think you got to, this film is going to give you an opportunity to kind of understand that. And I don't think anyone who's American should take offense to what Rem's saying. He's talking about the flag. He's talking about colonialism. He's talking about imperialism. He's talking about what this nation is built on, not the people. The people are as powerless as, we are the 99%. There is no power on this side. So unless you are a powerful part of this system, I don't see why you take offense to it. And I think that
Trust fund babies get mad at me.
Yeah,
they are the temporarily embarrassed millionaires, and this, like, they are one of the reasons why socialism never took place, is because they don't want us to be so harsh in the system. They don't want us. They want us to tone down, whitewash, and water down our message. And this is one thing I refuse. I have washed down a lot of messages, especially working for Bernie Sanders' campaign. I had to whitewash a lot of my messaging, and now I'm off the leash, and you can't stop me now.
I think one of the things that really made us want to work with Rome is we were skeptical about kind of jumping into that space. There's like a lot of, like, at least with the YouTube space, there's infighting, and there's lots of, you like the Vanguard, some of the people who do a lot of the gossip stuff, and we were like skeptical about jumping in that world. And I think with Rome, we felt like a lot of the people like Kyle Klinsky and even some of those kind of audience members of the left since Bernie have kind of gone back to sleep. And I feel like they're actually kind of out of touch, where Americans are a lot more extreme than we were when Bernie's gone, a lot of the working class. And I think Rome's probably in tune more than you'd think with the average working class people than, some of these people that are waiting for another savior to come. And I think Rome really does empower people with his message to get out there and do it themselves and say, well, why can't you get out in your community and help them more than any of these politicians can? And I think we probably wouldn't have we were really skeptical about doing another doc about someone who does political commentary, but because Rome can back it up with that kind of activism, because a lot of these people who ask us, like, why didn't you make a movie on me? I mean, we can't, because it'd be boring as shit. It'd just be you and you're watching reaction videos on YouTube. Like, this guy, you go on tour, Ron, which is why I said you were on the list. You go do stand-up comedy. It's really people who get out there. So the fact that Rome could kind of mix the really strong political messaging with a visual that can go with it and really build his case is why I thought it was the perfect film.
Because as you saying yourself, Tour for the Poor isn't just me being a nice guy. I'm not a nice guy. I'm really a fucked up individual.
Oh, Rome.
I use Tour for the Poor as a form of propaganda. Like, I like to say, don't come in my hood without shiny things, And this is another way to get people to listen. When their belly is full, they tend to listen to you more. When they're warm, they tend to listen to you more and hear you out, even if you guys not politically in line and whatnot. So Tour for the Poor is it's a propaganda train. You know, I tour around, I feed people, I listen to them, and then I give them a message. And I never leave without telling them death to America or making them feel some type of way about the system that we are living under. So I use what I have to push people towards the left and make sure I have strongholds in certain neighborhoods. Like I got a stronghold in Boston. I have a couple of strongholds out there in Compton. I have some strongholds out there in Jackson, Mississippi. I mean, not Jackson, Mississippi, not yet. In Jacksonville, Florida, we're gonna be opening up a gun range for the people out there, and it's going to be a gun club for majority blacks and Haitians, trying to teach them how to shoot and prepare, how to eat, rehabilitate, get off of drugs, and prepare for the revolution. But it's all propaganda. It's all propaganda. For me to build my army, basically.
Yeah, he's
Well,
really
I think it's also, I mean, it really is like the anatomy of mutual aid, though. Like a lot of times it's like, mutual aid is all about community and helping. But then, once somebody is fed, like you said, a lot of times they'll say, why are you doing this? What are you doing? Like, and that's when it's totally, I think, totally cool to be like, well, because I'm a communist.
Yep.
And this is, so I think.
You hate it now, what you gonna do? You gonna throw it up? You gonna take the coat off your back? Oh, they told me to stay away from the commies. There's a reason why they told you to stay away from the commies, because we like this. And the same people that told you to stay away from the communists are stepping over you, or are looking at you with disgust when you ask for change, or looking at you with disgust when you ask for healthcare, housing, and got laws written against you, and vote for people who write laws against you. The communists don't do shit like that. Socialists never did a damn thing like that. It's the reason why they're telling you to stay away from us.
The funny thing too is if you go to my wife's from China, like propaganda is not a dirty word in a lot of other countries. Like China has a whole genre of film that's called it'll say like this is a propaganda biographical film. They're not hiding it. Here is where is the only country that pretends they don't do it. If you watch a Chinese film and I told my wife that was propaganda, she'd be like, yeah, exactly. It's like there's no, and so I mean, I think that this film's gonna be interesting for people who, if you ever wanted to get outside of YouTube, you can see Roman in his living room or wherever he records doing commentary. But if you ever wanted to just follow him on the street and really just follow him right when he logs off and for an entire weekend, that's what we did. We spent a weekend and we shot to kill. And the reason I think this is going to be a really strong project is I like to work with people who aren't political. Like, I'd bring people in to work, and usually they might even be opposed to it. Death to America was a little weird for some of my camera guys, but by the end of the weekend, they were saying it, you know what I mean, on the ride home. And that's the same with 2016. I had an editor do the Black Lives Matter episode of Revolution Televised, our first series, and he was like, but I don't agree with Black Lives Matter. I was like, all right, well, we'll see. It had been just come out. It was very early with that movement, and within a week, he's like, I love Black Lives. He was completely converted off just editing his, the footage that we shot. So in a way, a film is a learning experience. And I think the people that came on the set, they said they never shot a project like that. And I think it was real life-changing for them, actually.
That's the power of film, man. I mean, that's the beauty of it. And I know I'm preaching to the choir. You guys know this, but I mean, yeah, like that's the freaking beauty of it. And there's so many times where like you can think of so many things where, the buzzwords scare people off, but then you break it down what it really means. And people are like, oh, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. Abolish the police scares a lot of people off until you break down what that really means. And then people are like, oh yeah, that is a much better way to have a society. Right, communism.
Like we can say, I have this conversation all the time. Why aren't there so many cops out there in the suburban areas? Because they're suburban areas, because they have money, they have resources. Okay, so why are so many fucking cops out here in the black and the brown communities? Oh, because they're high in poverty, high in crime. Okay, so more cops, so that don't make sense. It don't make sense. So what do we need? What do the poor black and brown communities need? The same thing that the suburban communities need to keep the police out of our neighborhoods. And like I was just talking to this white motherfucker. No offense, this old white motherfucker.
No, it's okay. It's true.
And we was talking about the police, being in certain neighborhoods. I said, since you motherfuckers like the police so much, let them roam around your goddamn neighborhood. When the last time you even heard of a black person calling the police like that. It happens, but not as much as they, what I'm saying, want to admit. Like, put them in your neighborhoods. Give us the opportunities. Put the jobs. Stop moving the jobs across 8 Mile. Put them back in the city. Put them back on Gratiot. Put it back on the East Side, and watch us not need the police. But that's another whole nother story.
That was the crazy thing about it, I will say, is coming from Philly. I mean, Philly's no picnic either, but the difference with Detroit, I noticed, is Philly, the suburbs outside of Philly are fine, and then you get into the city, and it's pretty dangerous. In Detroit, it was like flipped outward, where we were outside the city, and that's where you see what would normally maybe at one time was a white picket fence suburb that is just completely deteriorated. I mean, I've seen blocks where there's only one house with people in it on the whole block. Everything's empty, and it's spooky. Like Eminem said, Amityville, and it's like not that far off. It's like you kind of get why he calls it that. But at the same time, I'm not gonna lie. Everybody was really nice to us. We didn't have any issues. Everyone was real welcome. Strangers were welcoming. People come up and say, "Hey, what's with the camera?" and ask for him. We had multiple dope people try to get us to shoot their music videos.
That's what I said. I was like, I doubt if we get anything except for people asking to shoot their music. Everybody rappers.
Yeah, they really were. Hey man, you shoot videos? I wish we said yeah. We probably could have made some money instead of losing money. But yeah, I mean, it was a hell of a weekend, man, and it just got me excited because I hadn't shot a doc in I think 2 years since COVID, and it was just great to get out there. And me and Rome made a promise early on because we didn't know each other at all when we went up there. A couple phone calls, but it was like he promised he would keep us busy all weekend because I was going to make those camera guys really work for it, and I promised him it was going to turn out good, and I think that we both delivered on what we said.
That's awesome, man. And you know what I just realized here? This is a random aside, but I met both of you in person, not at the same time, but I've met both of you in person in Boston for the first time.
Jill Stein.
Yeah, I met you in person at the show, and also Jill Stein was involved.
Yeah. We were doing another screening, and we were doing another screening, and I hit her up, and I was surprised. She's like, "Come out." That's when I met Graham, and it was really cool.
Yeah, you came to the show we did in Boston, and I guess that was like 2018, and that was where you and I met for the first time, Kevin. And then Rome, you were at the last show last year, and Jill Stein was there as well. That's a weird coincidence, but
all right, jealous. I was jealous. I wanted to go to the other one. Jill was there. Ron was there.
It was a fun night. A fun night. Sabby was there. We had a good old time.
We was getting turned up off of them expensive ass shots.
What?
So we was getting turned up off of them expensive ass wine shots.
Oh yeah. So tell everyone where to go to watch this movie. Give all the information, where to sign up for Right Brain TV, and folks, get your tickets now because there are less than 10 left for the screening of this movie.
All right, listen. I'm not saying don't become a Right Brain TV member. Everybody should become a Right Brain TV member. You should have multiple accounts in the house. Your kids should have it. Everyone should have it. But for right now, the main focus is to buy a ticket to the movie because even if you're a member, you can't go to the screening. You have to have a movie ticket. So go to rightbrainstudios.tv, or you can click the link in my bio at Right Brain TV. And if you just go right there, there'll be a big old picture of Rome, multiple parts of the homepage. You can't miss him. He's holding the workers' flag, and you click that and just grab a ticket. Right now, tickets are only $8. There's going to be a special Q&A after. It's going to be a live virtual screening. So at 9 p.m. on Friday, Eastern time, you're going to go on the website, and you won't be able to miss it again. You're going to click. There'll be a poster. It says Death to America. Enter here. You click that. It'll be a live virtual screening. You can't rewind. You can't go forward. I believe you can pause, but you can only go forward. So it's going to be like being in a real theater virtually. We're trying out this function. It's the first time, so bear with us. There's going to be a Q&A after the show with me and Rome, and then 15% of it's going to go to Tour for the Poor. So you can help charity. Right now, tickets are only $8. They were $15, but we wanted to make it accessible to everyone. So, I mean, if you're broke, you could get 3 people and throw $2 up each and watch it in one house. You just need one ticket a house. So keep that in mind.
So that's rightbrainstudios.tv. It is this Friday night, which is February 3rd at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So 6 for me. It's an early dinner time thing for me out here in California. But and if somebody can't catch it live, Kevin, can they still see it if they buy a ticket?
Absolutely. I'm going to just trust the honor system that you're not going to take that password I send you and leak it everywhere. But you know what? I want as many people as possible to see this movie. We want to break even on it. That's why we did the screenings, is to raise some money for charity and break even, because at the end of the day, it's not about making a big profit. It's, if we can't break even, we can't make more movies. And that's really all it comes down to.
Yeah.
And I'm not done. Like he missed that damn near everything. Like, but it'd be good for him to come back up here and get, get shots at the library, what we got going on for the community garden. I got a school that want me to build a park for him. So there's a lot of stuff I'm doing up here that he's missing out. So if you guys can, what I'm saying, take your mama phone, take your conservative daddy, granddaddy phone, and buy a ticket. You know what I'm saying? Buy a ticket and make their ass watch it.
Well, what's the
Put it on
timeline on what's the
Put 'em on spot.
timeline? Oh, sorry. What's the timeline on the library? Like, will it be ready? Will I get to see it? I'll be in town in June 23rd. I'll be playing Detroit. Tickets aren't available yet, but June 23rd, I'm doing Detroit. So is there a chance it'll be ready by then?
Yeah, the movie would be out by then.
No. Your library.
Oh, library. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking talking to him. Yeah, my library should be up. It's gonna be fixed up by June, but I still got to paint. I need to redo a couple of shingles on the side, take down that big ass cross. But it should be open to the public late June. If not, you can still come through, see what process we got going on.
I'm excited, man.
Just got a new roof put on there, hot water tank. I put that on there. We got a new boiler. We got a full kitchen in there. But the thing is, I had a deal with the actual owner of the building because he basically taught me how to build and destroy and whatnot. His name Ronnie, a good friend of mine. We're gonna split the building, but as long as I help him, with upkeep and fixing it up. Like right now, I won't have to pay bills. I won't have to do none of that crap. We can just sit in there and literally just run a library because the building is big enough. It's big enough for all of us.
Well, that's fantastic, man, and I can't wait to see it in June, be it the finished product or wherever it is in the scheme of things. And thank you so much, both of you. Thank you so much for everything you do. I am so excited to see this film. Again, that's rightbrainstudios.tv. Grab a ticket now. There's only a few left. I'm stoked to see this, guys. I have not seen it yet. I know you offered me a sneak peek, Kevin, but I didn't want to. I wanted to see it with everyone else. So I'm very
always
excited.
offering people sneak peeks, man. Please help us sell this out. Let's prove that anti-imperialist films, even a film called Death to America, can sell out a screening when theaters at an all-time low. Let's sell this shit out.
Cheers, guys. Thanks so much, and I'm stoked for Friday. Peace.
All right, man. Thank you. Thanks for having us.
All right. So that was Rome and Kevin. And again, that's rightbrainstudios.tv. Grab a ticket. I'm definitely I'm getting my ticket as soon as this show's over. And I can't wait for it. I mean, I was stoked when Kevin told me about the project. I can't wait to see it. You guys know me. I love Detroit. I love I love all the work that Rome does. I love all the work that Kevin does. It's awesome to see Right Brain blossoming into these types of projects. I mean, what else could you, right? Like, why would you? And if you can't catch it on Friday, maybe you got something going on Friday night. Well, you can still watch it after. So there's no reason not to get a ticket. So rightbrainstudios.tv. Tell all your friends. You know the drill. All right, let's get to TicketMaster. All right, this happened last week, but you guys know I'm doing the show on a different day. Usually Sunday's our day, but it's Monday today because I was on the road. So here's what happened. Ticketmaster, the Senate had a hearing on Ticketmaster. And basically Ticketmaster's monopolistic practices, which they've been doing for years now. They price gouge you with all kinds of obscene fees. And then there was the issue with the market-based ticketing that was making tickets go for up to $5,000 a pop. And then, of course, there was the Taylor Swift fiasco where they put all these tickets up at once and the whole system went haywire. And let's be honest, they were seeing what they could get away with as far as how much they were making per ticket. This was a deliberate move by Ticketmaster because they have a near monopoly and they can get away with it. But the Taylor Swifties, which is what you call Taylor Swift fans, they were so angry about this that they basically were loud, and the Senate did a hearing on it. So here's some highlights from that hearing. Senate Judiciary Committee break up Ticketmaster. So this is from the American Economic Liberties Project. This is just their press release assessment of it, but we'll go through some of the quotes. So Senator Richard Blumenthal during this hearing, which, by the way, the hearing is 3 hours long. So we're not going to go through all of it, obviously, but this website kind of did a nice little summary. So the U.S. Senate Judiciary's first hearing was a clear-eyed bipartisan rejection of Live Nation / Ticketmaster's monopoly power and abuse, zeroing in on the harm to artists, venues, promoters, and consumers. The hearing offered overwhelming evidence to support the reported investigation underway at the Department of Justice. So here's a couple quotes. These are from Senator Richard Blumenthal. Mr. Berchtold, which I believe that's the CEO of Ticketmaster or something like that. I want to congratulate and thank you for an absolutely stunning achievement. You have brought together Republicans and Democrats in a unified cause. Live Nation / Ticketmaster is an 800-pound gorilla here. I got to admit, that's a pretty good burn, by the way. You have clear Dominic's monopolistic control. This whole concert ticket system is a mess. It's a monopolistic mess. If the Department of Justice establishes a violation of the consent decree, unwinding the merger ought to be on the table. If the DOJ establishes facts that involve monopolistic and predatory abuses, there ought to be structural remedies, such as breaking up the company. Senator John Cornyn says, so whether or not you actually own the venue, you have effective influence and in some cases outright control. Senator Dick Durbin, the ticketing and live entertainment markets lack competition and are dominated by a single entity, Live Nation. In the past decade plus since the Live Nation Ticketmaster merger, Live Nation has consolidated its dominant position in the ticketing and live market events, and the result is a competition-killing strategy that has left artists and fans paying the price. Okay, so here's the gist on what happens, and then we're going to go to an NPR piece in a second here. So the Senate Judiciary Committee, like they approved this merger. They said to Ticketmaster and Live Nation, okay, you can merge. But there were a couple conditions. Now, we know that antitrust enforcement in this country is little more than a joke, but nonetheless, they gave these conditions. Now, one of the conditions they gave Ticketmaster Live Nation was you can't engage in types of anti-competitive behavior like having exclusivity clauses with artists and venues, and things like that. Ticketmaster has done all that. They have exclusivity contracts with different venues. Now, not only do they have exclusivity contracts with venues, which means that venue has to use Ticketmaster, they have other sister companies and other incubator companies that they own, so that are meant for smaller venues and things like that. And it's to the point that any live performing artist in the country, it's almost impossible to avoid Ticketmaster. Even someone like me, even someone at my level, which I'm not a household arena name, clearly. But even somebody like me, there have been situations where the company that has a contract with the venue is a Ticketmaster affiliated company. And it's hard to even know it because, again, the company's not Ticketmaster. It's a different ticketing company, but it's owned by Ticketmaster. So it's a freaking homework assignment to figure out whether or not you're working with a Ticketmaster exclusive venue. That's just how big of a dominant stranglehold they have. That's why I always tell people, I'm like, I do my best as an artist to avoid Ticketmaster to the absolute best of my ability. But unfortunately, I'm unable to make the promise that I can avoid it in every single situation. It is that hard to frickin' avoid. Unless I just straight up quit touring, I guess. So this is terrible what they're doing, obviously. And here is, so this hearing happened and they kind of exposed that, hey, you made these promises to us and you're not keeping them. You're just straight up not keeping them. So what's going to happen next? Now, if they were to suggest that Ticketmaster and Live Nation break up, that would be a heavy lift and there would be a lot of work involved with that. However, it wouldn't be an impossibility. How likely are they to do that? Well, we're going to go to this piece from NPR. Now, NPR, you guys know me. I call NPR nice, polite Republicans. And boy, does this piece really speak to that sentiment. I heard a net neutrality segment on NPR once, and the different perspectives they had the industry perspective, the industry being the cable industry, so an anti-net neutrality sentiment. They had the cable industry perspective and the more polite cable industry perspective. I'm serious. They had like two big cable execs talk about net neutrality. That was the broad perspective of opinions they had there. This piece also fits that bill. So this is this was a conversation that they had with Variety senior editor Jem Aswad. Now, I don't know anything about Jem Aswad, but I will say, based on this 4-minute clip, this is the most like Ticketmaster friendly segment. Like it almost sounds like a freaking parody. Like it almost sounds like the, and even at one point during this thing, and we're going to listen to it, but at one point during it, they make like the most slight, like the slightest of criticism towards Ticketmaster, and they tone police themselves right away. Like right away, they're like, I hope that wasn't too harsh. Seriously, it's kind of ridiculous, but we're going to listen to it, and then I'm going to tell you why, other than just like, oh, this is ridiculous. But here, so we're going to listen to it, and then I'm going to go through some of the things.
Top executives in the ticketing industry faced the Senate Judiciary Committee today. Senators accused Ticketmaster and its parent company, Live Nation, of monopolistic behavior and of bungling the sale of Taylor Swift concert tickets last fall. Here's Republican Senator John Kennedy.
If you care about the consumer, cap the price. Cut out the bots. Cut out the middle people. Not every kid can afford whatever it is, $500 to go see Taylor Swift.
A few senators also took the opportunity to quote Taylor Swift lyrics, like Republican Mike Lee speaking here about ticket resales.
I think it's a nightmare dressed like a daydream. I don't think we ought to go there.
Well, Jem Aswad went there. He's been following the hearing. He's senior music editor at Variety. Thanks for joining us.
I will not be quoting any Taylor Swift lyrics.
Oh, you say that now. We'll see what happens in the next 3.5 minutes. So there was a lot of debate over who bears responsibility for the Taylor Swift ticket debacle. Any clarity on how this went down?
Well, the issue is the Taylor Swift ticket debacle has nothing to do with antitrust.
That's a lie. So right there, we're going to pause it there. That's a freaking lie. Like this whole thing, and we're going to listen to it. It sounds like a Ticketmaster press release. It really does. Again, I don't know anything about this senior editor, but I mean, I would. Anyway, yeah, I was going to say like I wouldn't be surprised if this guy was getting paid by Ticketmaster. I'm not claiming that because, of course, I have no evidence of that. But it is so ridiculous. Yes, this does have everything to do with antitrust, because the reason Ticketmaster can get away with what they can get away with is because they have a monopoly. So to say this has nothing to do with antitrust is absolutely absurd. So let's listen to this. And this is why I'm showing this to you guys, because this is what I think is going to play out here.
Trust. They simply put too many tickets out into the market at once. They were trying to break a record, I assume, which they did. They sold 2 million tickets in a single day, which had never been done before. But they broke a record, but they also broke the internet, which is where all the problems are. Now, the allegations of Ticketmaster's monopolistic practices are something completely different.
Okay, so let's talk about that piece of it. Because 13 years ago, the Justice Department allowed.
So even the NPR host here wants to go a little harder. This guy's trying to deflect away from, oh, this has nothing to do with their monopolistic practices. This has nothing to do with antitrust. Yes, it does. They did what they did to see what they could get away with. Everything Ticketmaster does, oh, we're going to let all these tickets out at once to just see how quickly we can buy them, see how much we can charge, see what kind of fair market ticket practicing we can put forth that drives the value of a ticket up. They wanted to see what they could get away with. And in this case with Taylor Swift, they bit off more than they could chew, and it went belly up. It has everything to do with their monopolistic power. It has everything to do with no antitrust enforcement. And this guy, oh, no, it was just a tech thing. And then they try to blame bots and scalpers, which they've been doing for years. All right, so let's listen to more of this. So even the host is like, can we get a little more into this? Because I think that is the matter at hand here.
About a merger between Ticketmaster and Live Nation. What's the crux of the argument against that arrangement now?
Well, they keep overstepping, violating, I believe it's fair to say, the consent decree that they signed. There are certain things they agreed to do, in order to keep this from being a monopoly. And they've broken it at least twice, or at least have been convicted of breaking it. I hope my verbs aren't too strong there, but these are things that they have.
They broke their. I hope my verbs weren't too strong there. I mean, like, this is like a sketch. Oh, I hope that wasn't. Apparently, they broke their promise because they totally did. I hope that wasn't too strong. I mean, I don't know what this person's agenda is, but they are so, like, one-dimensional in this. Anyway, all right, so let's listen to the rest of this.
They have definitely done, and it's very much they are by far the largest ticketing industry in the United States, if not the world. They said in the hearing it was something like 87% of the entire ticketing industry. And it's hard not to make a case. It's hard to make a case that's not a monopoly.
Well, if it is a monopoly, does that mean that this merger should unwind? Some senators today are calling for that. Do you think it's likely to happen?
It's possible. They made a strong case for it. The wording was much stronger than I was expecting, quite honestly. Live Nation spends a lot of money on lobbying on Capitol Hill. And what happens in this hearing and what happens afterward remains to be seen. What's likely is they will probably find ways to sort of soft pedal what happened. They'll pay some fines. They'll, walk a few things back, and they'll say, we're going to try to be better. Now, to be fair to Live Nation and Ticketmaster, they are up against some of the toughest hackers, most skilled hackers in the entire world.
And there's the excuse. So again, and this person said, to be fair to Ticketmaster, you've been more than fair to Ticketmaster this entire segment. This has been, I mean, I would assume that the CEO of Ticketmaster was in the studio when you did this interview. To be fair to Ticketmaster here, you've been so the excuse is they're going to blame this on quote unquote bots. They're going to blame this on scalpers who kind of get tickets and then sell them for higher prices. That's who they're going to try to blame this on. Now, is that an issue or isn't it? I'd imagine to some degree it happens. Sure. How significant it is or isn't, I don't know. I mean, I'm not that hip to the inner workings of the ticketing industry to speak to that one way or another. But what I can speak to is I could say this is a freaking deflection and a scapegoat, because what's really going on here is that Ticketmaster has pretty much a monopoly on the live ticketing industry. So they charge you fees out the fucking wazoo because they can get away with it. They charge fees for freaking air pretty much at this point. They can engage in all these different practices to price gouge even more. That's what they did with Bruce Springsteen. That's what they did with Taylor Swift. That's what they'll do in the future. So no, this isn't because of bots or scalpers. This isn't something you can take out on people. This is the company.
In the entire world, and B, the size of the demand for the Taylor Swift tickets was probably unprecedented. I mean, You're basically trying to get 500 people or 50,000 people into a room that holds 500.
Well, just in our last 30 seconds or so, do the artists have any power here? Could they bond together and have some influence on how this all plays out?
They could, and Taylor Swift has taken a stand, obviously, but look at the artists that they had testifying for them. I mean, with no disrespect, who's heard of Lawrence? I mean, it's like that really does speak to how reluctant people are to go up against Ticketmaster because they can't afford to.
Jem Oswald is a senior music editor at Variety. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So the reason I shared that is because what I think is likely going to happen here is that the Ticketmaster press release that we basically just listened to, which, I mean, again, I don't know. I don't know why that editor was so like pro industry there. I mean, it is NPR. Isn't it amazing that NPR is considered, first of all, it's called, it doesn't actually stand for Nice Polite Republicans. It stands for National Public Radio. It's not really public radio. They get Coke money and shit now. It hasn't been public radio for like at least 10 to 15 years, I think. But isn't it amazing? Like, it's considered like an alternative to like the corporate narrative. And it's not. It's just a more polite sounding version of the corporate narrative. Like, it's just remarkable to me. But my reason for playing you that clip wasn't because I'd be like, listen to how ridiculous this segment is. I could do that every day with anything, with NPR, with CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, you name it. My reason for sharing that is because this is what I think is going to happen. I think Ticketmaster will successfully rally, Department of Justice and the Senate Judiciary Committee saying, oh, no, this was a tech glitch. This was because of bots. And they'll probably pay some kind of a fine that'll be less than a slap on the wrist. They'll probably say we won't engage in this practice again. And then they'll kind of behave themselves a little bit until the public forgets. Then they'll be back to their same old tricks. And they might pass, like the Senate or something, they might pass some ridiculous law like, oh, we have a new law against bots, because they already have a law against bots that nobody bothers enforcing anyway. Amy Klobuchar talked about that in a Rolling Stone piece. They already have a law against these, quote, bots that no one frickin' follows anyway. So to answer the question of today's show, will they break up Ticketmaster? I doubt it. I hope I'm proven wrong. It's not impossible. It'd be a process, but they could go about it, and they could, yes, break up Ticketmaster. Or this could have mainly been for show, and Ticketmaster's just going to successfully blame these quote-unquote bots, and we'll see some kind of slap on the wrist, and that'll be it. I'm thinking that's what's likely to happen. I hope I'm frickin' wrong. So will they break up Ticketmaster? Probably not. Hope I'm wrong. All right. So I got a fun one to end the show today. I'm excited for this. And by the way, everybody catching this live, we are going to do the patron stream after this. Now, my patron stream goes out to everybody, but the replay is only available on Patreon and Rockman Premium. And it's a casual stream, so come with your questions. Please come with your super chats if you are able. That helps keep the show on the air. But we'll be doing that right after this main stream. We'll be doing kind of the post game, if you will. But I wanted to share this one. This is kind of fun. So today is Monday. I usually don't stream on a Monday, but I am today because I didn't do Sunday because of travel. But this is a fun little story that combines a bunch of things I like. It combines music, it combines hockey, my favorite sport, and it combines not being a fan of Jeff Bezos. So check this out. Here's a fun one to end the show today. Sorry about that. Indie supergroup Who Is She dropped a Seattle Kraken house band after dissing Jeff Bezos. So I'm not familiar with this group, but I'm going to look into them, and they might have a new fan because they did this. Seattle supergroup Who Is She, which is members of Taco Cat, Chastity Belt, and Lisa Prank, have been disinvited from their gig as the house band at Seattle Kraken. You do say a Kraken, right? Anyway, Kraken games taking place over the weekend. On Wednesday, the group played in between periods at Climate Pledge Arena during an ice hockey match between the Kraken and the Vancouver Canucks. They played a version of Le Tigre's My Metro card with the lyrics changed to My Orca card. So here's what they said for the lyrics. Oh no, Jeffrey Bezos, he's such a total jerk. Shut down all the bookstores. Billionaires do not work. Now, the original song is a 1998 song that takes aim at Rudy Giuliani. So they switched it up to make it about Jeff Bezos instead of Rudy Giuliani. So the article here, which is from Stereo Gum, goes on to say Bezos is the CEO of Amazon, and Amazon has the naming rights at Climate Pledge Arena. So what they told the band, I guess they tweeted this. In an unfortunate turn, the band tweeted this, excuse me. So here's what the band said. In an unfortunate turn of events, apparently we are not welcome back at Jeff Bezos' Climate Pledge Arena for tonight and tomorrow's hockey games. Who Is She tweeted on Friday. Glad we got to play our take on this Le Tigre song. We had a blast. Sorry to anyone who was hoping to see us play. Go Kraken. As for a closer timeline of events, Who Is She were reportedly uninvited when Kraken told them leadership decided you're not a good fit for hockey. That's what they said to them. Oh, we just decided you're not a good fit for hockey. Why wouldn't you have decided that before we frickin', before you hired us? I don't know. Love it. So good for them. I'm not familiar with this group, but I'm definitely going to look into them because, like I told you guys, they might have a new fan in me for doing this. They're calling out Jeff Bezos. So there you go. That's a nice Music Monday, fun one for Monday. And again, that band is called Who Is She? Who is she? Question mark. Check it out. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Tour dates, I got them. So shout out again to everyone who came out to Tucson on Saturday. I had a freaking blast. It was awesome to see you. Saw some Get Your News On with Ron people, saw some Status Quo people, and I hope that continues with every show this year. We got to screen Loner, which was awesome. Loner is a short film / pilot that I made. It is out there, and I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. It will be out for everyone soon. I just don't know exactly how I'm going to unroll it yet, but we had our first screening, and it was a blast. I hope to have more screenings, and we'll see what the future holds for Loner. You can watch Loner now if you're a patron, though. Patreon.com/Ron Placone. For a Give What You Can level, you get all kinds of exclusive perks, all the replays of the patron stream, full stand-up sets not available anywhere else. I'll make you a theme song, and you get to watch Loner in its entirety. And you get to watch my performance as Lucian the Satirist. I have a historical interpretation of Lucian the Satirist that I'm trying to tour at Renaissance fairs all over the country. You can watch that now and my short film if you're a patron. All that stuff's not available anywhere else. Patreon.com/Ron Placone. And you can get all that for a Give What You Can level. Can't beat it. But tour dates, I got them. February 10th, Los Angeles, California. I'm going to do my 2023 hour at the Glendale Room. I'm doing a series of 3 shows at the Glendale Room in Los Angeles. That first one is on February 10th. Second one is April 14th. Third one is May 12th. You can get tickets for all those shows now at ronplacone.com. These shows have just been confirmed. June 16th, Madison, Wisconsin. June 17th, Minneapolis, Minnesota. June 29th, Chicago, Illinois. That's right. You can get tickets for all those shows now, and if you use the promo code Lucy at checkout, you get discounted tickets. So get tickets now for Minneapolis, Madison, and Chicago. Use the promo code Lucy for discounted tickets. That's an early bird special, so get them now. Don't wait. Detroit, I'm coming to town June 23rd. Tickets are not available yet. I'm working with the venue on that one, so tickets are not available yet, but as soon as tickets are available, I will let you know. So Detroit, mark June 23rd, but tickets aren't available yet. But Madison, Minneapolis, and Chicago, tickets are available now. And I should have a couple more dates announced in the Midwest soon. And then I'm also hoping to go overseas this year. So should have the rest of 2023 down soon. But those are the tour dates that are available now. RonPlacone.com for tickets. I'll be right back. And in the meantime, you know the drill. Lucy, she says meow. I say peace, love, and a general strike.